This is the best evidence-based no BS guide you will ever watch on how to cut so you can lose fat while maintaining the most amount of muscle. You will learn how to eat, how to train, the best type of cardio, what supplements you might need, and at the end I'll answer commonly asked questions you might have regarding a cut. First thing we need to clarify, what is a cut? A cut is a period of training that is dedicated to losing body fat while maintaining as much muscle as possible. To lose fat, you have to lose weight, and to lose weight, you have to eat in a caloric deficit. No matter how hard you try, some of this weight loss will be muscle loss. The thought of losing precious amounts of muscle sounds scary, but remember the amount of muscle you lose is dependent upon these three things in order of importance. If you keep training hard with amazing form, if you choose an appropriate rate of weight loss, and you have your macronutrients in check, you will be putting your best foot forward to get lean the right way and to minimize muscle loss. Step 1, find your maintenance calories. This is the amount of calories you need to eat per day to maintain your body weight. There are a few approaches you can take, but remember that no approach is perfect because everyone has a slightly different metabolism and activity level. So don't overthink this, just get started and adjust. We're going to use this chart from Dr. Eric Helms' Muscle and Strength Pyramid, which you can use for the rest of your life to simplify everything. Find which group you're a part of. Are you lifting 3 to 6 days and sedentary or lightly active throughout your week? This would mean your job isn't very labor intensive, you don't do lots of cardio or sports, and or you don't have lots of active recreational activities. If you're part of this group, your maintenance calories will be found by multiplying your body weight in pounds by 15. Are you lifting 3 to 6 days and either active or very active throughout your week? This would mean lots of cardio or sports, recreational activities, and or a very active job. If you're a part of this group, your maintenance calories will be found by multiplying your body weight in pounds times 19. If you think you might be somewhere in the middle, multiply your body weight in pounds by 17. For our example, we'll use a 180-pound individual named Jim Bro. We'll multiply his weight by 15 to get a rough estimate of 2,700 calories. Okay, so now you know how many calories to maintain body weight, but how much do you need to start cutting? Step 2, find your caloric deficit. Dr. Eric Helms recommends that you aim to lose weight at a rate of 0.5 to 1% of body weight per week to minimize muscle and strength loss. For our example of 180-pound Jim Bro, this would be between 0.9 to 1.8 pounds per week. 1 pound of weight loss per week is about a 500 calorie deficit per day. This is a great and sustainable approach to fat loss. You'll deal with small amounts of hunger, you'll still have decent energy throughout the day for your workouts, and you can still enjoy some of your favorite foods in moderation. If you go higher than 1 pound of weight loss per week, you can lose weight quicker, but you'll be dealing with more hunger. Your diet will be more strict, you'll potentially have to include more cardio, and you might be able to handle it for a month or two, but then it becomes very difficult. What do I recommend? If you're over 20% body fat, I think 1% body weight loss per week is definitely appropriate. You have a decent amount of weight to lose, so for you, your daily calories will still be fairly sustainable and your excess body fat will help provide you energy throughout the day. As you move throughout your cut and get leaner, you most likely will have to go down to a slow rate of weight loss. If it's your first cut and you're somewhere between 15 and 20% body fat, I would recommend going with somewhere between 0.5 to 0.75% body weight loss per week. Turn that percentage into a decimal by moving the decimal place to the left 2 places, then multiply this number by your weight in pounds. For our example of 180-pound Jim Bro, we're choosing 0.75% body weight loss per week, which is 1.35 pounds. Once you know how much weight you want to lose per week, do this. 1 pound is 3,500 calories. To get your weekly caloric deficit, take your goal weight loss per week and multiply it by 3,500. For our example, we get 4,725 calories. Now to get your daily caloric deficit, divide this number by 7. For a 180-pound Jim Bro who wants to lose 1.35 pounds per week, we get a daily caloric deficit of 675 calories. Always round to the closest tens place to keep it simple. Now subtract this number from your maintenance calories from before. Jim Bro's cutting calories will be 2,020 calories per day. This will be the amount of calories you need to start your cut. Remember that the first week of bulking or cutting will never be accurately shown on the scale. On a cut, you're going to lose a few pounds of water weight that first week, and it's common to see you losing 3 or 5 pounds off the scale. Oftentimes, this might make you think that you cut calories way too low and you start increasing your calories since you're afraid of muscle loss. Other times, people get excited they're losing this much weight, but they start to get discouraged when that rate of weight loss doesn't continue for the next few weeks. A good way to get around this is to not pay too much attention to the changes on the scale in the first week. Let that first week pass by without changing anything in your diet and start paying more attention week 2 and after, when you should actually start to make adjustments. I'll also show you how to adjust calories as you move throughout your cut, but first, what about your macros? Step 3, find your macros. On a cut, your nutrition needs to be more dialed in compared to a bulk. You're eating less calories, so therefore you need to eat less of each macronutrient. This is where you have to be careful because we're getting closer to the minimum amounts of each macro to prevent deficiency. Also, carbs are important for fueling workout, and protein needs increase when you're in a calorie deficit. You need to structure your nutrition plan in a smart way that lets you lose fat but also train hard, maintain muscle, and be able to sustain this for months at a time. I'm going to show you a super easy way to set this up on MyFitnessPal, but here's some things that you need to know about macros. The 4 macronutrients are protein, carbs, fats, and alcohol. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram, fat has 9 calories per gram, and both protein and carbs have 4 calories per gram. So first question about the macros is how much protein do you need? On a cut, protein needs increase due to a few reasons. Greater levels of activity from cardio increase protein requirements. More protein will be used for energy because less fat and carbs are available. Also, because you're eating less fat and carbs, your body will use more glycogen and body fat storage for energy. As you get leaner, these become more depleted and your body again turns to protein for fuel. Therefore, Dr. Eric Helms concludes, based on the above evidence and my experience as a coach, what probably makes the most sense for protein intake while you're dieting is somewhere between 1 to 1.2 grams per pound. As for my clients, at all times, I understand these ranges can become confusing, so always simplify protein needs down to this range, whether you're on a bulk or a cut. 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Eat at least 0.8 grams of protein per pound at all times, but when you're a cut, eat at least 1 gram per pound. You can definitely eat more according to your preference, but more protein won't build more muscle. Quick note, if your BMI is considered obese, then use your height in centimeters as the equivalent of your weight to calculate protein. A 220 pound, 5'9" individual is 175 centimeters tall, therefore he would eat 175 grams of protein until he's at a healthy weight, and then he would use his weight to calculate his protein needs. How much fat do you need? Fats are essential for hormone production, vitamin D, and multiple other processes throughout your body. A common bodybuilder mistake is dropping your fats way too low and your testosterone ends up tanking, you feel brain fog, a lack of energy, etc. Dr. Eric Helms mentions the minimum amount of fats you should be eating is 0.25 grams per pound of body weight. You should be above this number at most times, but this minimum is good to keep in mind as you need to decrease more and more calories. How many carbs do you need? Carbs are important for fueling workout, filling your muscles with glycogen for that muscle full effect, overall health, and recovery. The minimum amount of carbs you should be consuming, whether on a bulk or a cut, is 0.5 grams per pound. Ideally though, you're consuming at least 1 gram per pound so you can have better workouts. Okay, how do you actually use these numbers in a practical sense on a day-to-day basis? First, calculate your minimum numbers. For protein and carbs, multiply your body weight times 1. For fats, multiply your body weight times 0.25. For our example, we have a 180 pound gym bro with cutting calories at 2,020 calories per day. His minimum numbers he needs to hit are the following: 180 grams of protein, 180 grams of carbs, 45 grams of fats. We go over to MyFitnessPal. Press on the More tab, go to goals, choose the calorie, carbs, protein, and fat goals, and change your calories to your cutting calories we found earlier. Now, when you choose any macronutrient, a bar will pop up that needs to add up to 100% total. The first one I changed is protein because we need to make sure we're getting at least 1 gram per pound. Unfortunately, on the free MyFitnessPal version, we can't get 180 perfect, but that's okay, you get the idea. Next, we're gonna make sure our fats are meeting above the minimum requirement. Gym Bro's minimum is 45 grams per day, but at the beginning of a cut, there's no reason to just do the bare minimum, so 67 grams seems reasonable to start. Next, we're gonna fill the rest in with carbs. The bare minimum we should never go under is 0.5 grams per pound, but the ideal minimum is 1 gram per pound so it can refuel and recover properly. That is 180 grams for a gym bro, and we get relatively close with that. Okay, but how would you decrease these macros if you need to decrease calories? Say for example, gym bro gets down to 165 pounds and his new cutting calories are at 1750 to continue losing weight and get down to 10% body fat. You would look at your macros in order of importance. Fats are the least important for muscle growth after having enough to prevent deficiency. If you need to cut calories and fats are high, consider decreasing these first down to minimum. Carbs are right between fats and protein in terms of importance. You need them to refuel and recover, but if you need to cut calories further, then decrease these down to minimum. Protein is the most important for maintaining muscle mass. You should have it set to 1 gram per pound. This should not be decreased below this unless you're in a very specific situation and you're talking to a professional coach. Should you ever go below these minimum requirements while on a cut? What if you have to in order to further decrease calories? Dr. Eric Helms mentions if you are targeting a loss rate of 1% of your body weight per week, but to achieve it, you would have to take your fat or carb below these thresholds. The best course of action is to simply accept a rate of weight loss closer to 0.5% per week. Short answer is no, just lose weight slower to prevent deficiencies. You can't gain muscle if you're sick in a hospital. Keep in mind the minimum numbers of your macronutrients and also the fact that Harvard Health mentions calorie intake should not fall below 1,200 a day in women or 1,500 a day in men to prevent overall nutrient deficiency. Step 4, cardio. Cardio during a cut. Here's everything you need to know. The interference effect refers to interference in muscle strength and power output that also happens when you train for endurance. This has been blown out of proportion by social media and it might have scared you away from doing any cardio whatsoever. The interference effect definitely exists, but there are ways to minimize it to a point it would only have insignificant effects. Remember these 5 factors. Number 1, recovery. Are you recovering well enough from your cardio sessions that it doesn't impact your weightlifting sessions? Number 2, calories. Are you replacing the calories burned from cardio so you're still hitting your calorie goals? Number 3, impact. Dr. Helms mentions high impact forces can create joint strain and a high volume of high force eccentric actions can create a lot of muscle soreness. So you can deplete the muscle of its energy and also go into training with sore joints and muscles if cardio training is excessive. High impact exercises include running and most sports like tackle football or any containing plyometric movements. Are you choosing a low impact form of cardio like cycling, rowing, walking, or swimming? Number 4, timing. Doing cardio right before your lifting session will affect how strong you will be and how hard you can push yourself during your lifting session. Are you timing your weightlifting sessions properly either before cardio or spread out on different days or at least by a few hours? Number 5, priority. Dr. Eric Helms mentions, remember, you're a strength athlete or a bodybuilder, not an endurance athlete. As a rule of thumb, your total cardio for the week should take no more than half the time you spend lifting weights. So if you spend 90 minutes 4 times per week lifting weights, 6 hours per week, that means you should do no more than 3 total hours of cardio per week. Unfortunately, there's no exact training routine I can prescribe every single person. Those 5 factors are the things you need to keep in mind when doing cardio and adjust them based on preference and priority. So what's an example of what this might look like in a training routine? Dr. Eric Helms mentions, in the example of lifting 6 hours per week and doing 3 hours of cardio, you can perform 2 30-minute hit sessions, 1 hour of moderate intensity cardio, and 1 hour of low intensity cardio as one way of doing the absolute maximum amount that should be performed. If you want to just walk for your cardio, you could do that too. Okay, but do you have to do cardio? No, you don't have to. You could just decrease calories as you move throughout a cut with no form of formal cardio. Eventually though, if you want to lose that last 10 pounds to get down to beach lean and 6-pack level, you might have to include cardio because it's going to be hard to decrease calories even further. If you don't like to do formal cardio, lots of people find success in being more active throughout the day. Park in the back of a parking lot and walk to the front. Walk while listening to a podcast. Walk to a grocery store instead of driving. Use the stairs instead of the escalators. All these little things add up throughout the day. Ideally, cardio shouldn't be your main focus to lose fat. Think of it as a supplement to your fat loss routine. To lose weight, your main focus should be spending 3 to 4 days in the gym, lifting weights and training hard with amazing form as well as eating the right diet. If you want to lose weight a little bit faster, then you can add cardio on top to speed things up. Step 5, form a training routine. When you're on a cut, nothing should really change for your training routine compared to a bulk. Hopefully, you're not overdoing it with 20 sets per body part per week, training 7 days and taking all your sets to failure. In that case, you need to cut back on your training in general. If you're a beginner within the first 6 to 12 months of consistent weightlifting, it's normal to gain strength or muscle during a cut because of newbie gains, but eventually this will wear out. After this phase, it will be normal to not make any strength or muscle gains during a cut, and you might even notice yourself losing small amounts of gains. This shouldn't happen to a significant degree as long as you're still training hard, not trying to lose weight too fast by going above 1% body weight loss per week. Make sure your carbs and your protein are dialed in and you're consuming a solid pre-workout meal. If you're taking care of all those factors appropriately, but you feel very tired from your workouts, you're not recovering properly, or you're losing strength very fast, then chances are you would actually benefit from decreasing your training volume. I'm losing muscle and strength and I should train less? Yes, your body can only handle so much stress at once. If life, work, relationship, or personal stress is high and your body is in a state of restriction, this can impact your recovery. Don't cut your volume drastically, just try removing 1 to 2 sets per body part per week and see how that goes. Besides that, your training routine should always include the 8 fundamental principles on how to build muscle. And if you want to understand what those are, check out this video on my channel. To summarize that video, these are the most important points to keep in mind. Work your way up to about 10 sets per body part per week, which includes only about 6 direct sets for biceps, triceps, and each head of the delt. Train 1 or 2 reps away from failure unless you're completely new to lifting or completely new to a specific exercise. Then your main focus should be learning proper form. You should not train at all-out failure unless there's a specific purpose. Use mainly compound movements like the bench press, shoulder press, pull up or pull down, a row, a squat, a lunge, and a hip hinge, and then add in a few isolation exercises like a chest fly, bicep curl, tricep extension as necessary. Compound movements will work multiple muscle groups and have the ability to build the most amount of muscle in the quickest amount of time. These should be the core of your training routine. Progressively overload by either adding more reps or more weight onto the bar every workout. Always lift with a controlled movement and use a full range of motion. There are lots of different specific training routines you could follow, and there are many ones you can find on the internet. I'll have more videos on my channel coming out with the best training routines. For now, if you want one-on-one customized support with a training routine, nutrition plan, and accountability so you can get into the best shape of your life, look good in a t-shirt, feel more confident, and to possibly make your ex a little bit jealous, then go ahead and click the link in the description. Let's get started. Step 6, supplements. If muscle gain was a cake, then a solid training and nutrition plan would make up the foundation of the cake. Supplements are just the sprinkles on top. They can help, but they're definitely not necessary. The A tier of supplements that bring you the biggest bang for the buck when it comes to muscle growth and fat loss are the following. A multivitamin will help cover any micronutrient deficiencies. When you're on bulk, you're consuming lots of calories, so you're less likely to be deficient in a micronutrient. As you transition to a cut though, a multivitamin becomes much more important. A fish oil or a vegan form like algae or flaxseed oil can help provide you with essential fatty acids, EPA, and DHA. Protein powder can help you hit your daily protein target in a convenient way. Creatine monohydrate can improve your strength and also add 2 to 5 pounds of muscle mass with no extra work. Caffeine improves focus and energy, which can help you have a better, longer, and stronger workout session. If you hear about supplements like beta-alanine, citrulline, glutamine, amino acids, testosterone boosters, or fat loss supplements, understand that no matter how hyped up they sound or how great the marketing claims they are for muscle growth, most of them have very little evidence, mixed evidence, or benefits that have only been shown in rat studies or are people who are deficient. In complete transparency, they might provide some small minor benefit. I'm not hiding that, but unless you're balling out, they aren't worth your money. Frequently asked questions on cutting, rapid fire. How do you create a calorie deficit in your meals? Number 1, use leaner cuts of meat compared to fatty cuts. Number 2, cut out the empty calories, sauces, oils, butters, dips, and unnecessary high fat, high sugar ingredients in your meals that really don't provide much nutrition. Number 3, stick to black coffee and tea instead of the rainbow pink drink chocolate ganache frap with whipped cream and chocolate chips. Number 4, switch to non-fat almond or unsweetened plant-based milks. Number 5, keep the foods that give you the biggest bang for the buck. Lean sources of protein, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains give you the most amount of nutrition for health and muscle gain for the least amount of calories. Number 6, start using a whey protein isolate powder. Unlike other foods that also contain carbs and fats, a whey protein isolate is just straight protein. You can add 2 scoops to a shake, and that's 50 grams of protein for only 200 to 250 calories. How do you deal with hunger on a cut? Number 1, eat higher volume, lower calorie foods. These are foods like vegetables that have lots of fiber and take up lots of space, so they fill your gut and make you feel full. The best thing on a cut is to make a huge salad, add a protein source, and make a low calorie sauce with it. It will be delicious, mouth-watering, low calorie, and very filling. Number 2, use low calorie treats like popcorn, berries, low calorie ice cream bars, or any alternatives to your favorite foods. These are best when added close to bedtime when it's so easy to give into cravings. Number 3, start fasting. As long as you keep all other factors of your training and nutrition consistent, consume 3 meals a day with a roughly even spread of protein throughout the meals, and each meal is spaced at least 3 to 5 hours apart, then your results will be insignificantly affected, if affected at all, during a 16-hour fast and 8-hour eating window. Number 4, eat more protein. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. If you want to increase your protein intake up to 1.2 grams per day, you can, as long as decreasing your other macros won't significantly impact your results. Number 5, drink a full glass of water before meals and throughout the day. Number 6, ingest more caffeine because caffeine suppresses your appetite. Number 7, use artificially sweetened sparkling drinks or start chewing gum. Number 8, learn to eat mindfully and really focus on how good the food tastes instead of being distracted on your phone or listening to something during your meal. Number 9, here's the best tip of all. Accept the hunger. Stop fighting it. Embrace it. A little bit of hunger is good. These tips I mentioned can definitely help deal with hunger and distract you from the hunger, but at the end of the day, the hunger is a sign that your body is doing what you want it to do. Your body is burning fat, and that's what burning fat feels like. Instead of having a negative association to hunger, think of it as a positive sign. It's just another uncomfortable sensation that you eventually will become more and more comfortable with. Can you eat junk food and still lose weight? Yes, it's possible in moderation. Actually, if you had no consideration for your health, you could only eat chicken breasts, protein shakes, and fill the rest of your calories with junk food and still lose weight. However, this usually doesn't work because your health suffers, you have brain fog, low energy, and you end up not sticking to your diet because the more junk food you eat, the more you crave. Restaurant foods also don't have nutrition facts, and if they do, they can often be inaccurate, messing up your results. Having a cheat snack or one cheat meal per week won't harm your gains as long as you keep it inside your calories. If you go a little bit overboard by 200 to 300 calories on one day, don't trip. It's not the end of the world. Just get back on the grind the next day. At the end of the day, it just comes down to calories in, calories out. How do you track progress and adjust your cut? Look at your week-to-week weight loss because day-to-day will be too insignificant. Are you losing somewhere between 0.5 to 1% body weight loss per week? If not, either add or subtract calories from your daily intake depending on if you're losing too much weight or too little weight. Also remember that as you progress throughout your cut, your metabolism will slow down slightly because you are losing weight. If you start cutting calories at 2,000 calories on month 1, by month 2, that might need to decrease by about 100 calories. By month 3, another 100 calories. It's a small amount, but keep it in mind, you will have to decrease calories as you go. How long should a cut last? Until you feel comfortable enough to start bulking, which is somewhere between 10 to 14% body fat for most men. This is the point you will start feeling lean. Notice striations in your muscles, especially during a pump, and you'll see the outline of your ab muscles, if not a full six-pack. If you do a bulk and cut cycle the right way, your bulk should be around 4 to 5 months and you gain about a 4 to 7% increase in body weight. This will be around 8 to 15 pounds depending on how fast you go. Then your cut should be between 2 to 3 months and you lose 4 to 12% body weight. This is about 8 to 24 pounds depending on how fast you go. The biggest mistake with a cut is not being disciplined with your calorie deficit, and it turns into a yo-yo diet. You lose weight for the first 3 weeks, but then gain weight during week 4, maintain weight week 5, then you get motivated again for 2 weeks, then fall back into your bad habits during week 8, and you end up going for 5.5 months in a calorie deficit, but you only lose 8 pounds. I've been here, it sucks. It's okay if it happened, it's part of the process, especially with your first 1 or 2 cuts that you do, but ideally you want to avoid this. When you go into your cut, your goal should be to get in and get out. Lose fat while maintaining muscle. Then let's get back into a bulk or just maintain results. You don't want to spend too much time in a cut. Here are the exceptions. If you're starting off with above 20% body fat, then yes, your cut will take longer, and that's okay. If you end up not being disciplined with your lean bulk, it turned into a dirty bulk, or you bulk for way too long, or you had a lot of cheat days, then yes, your cut will take longer. If you're okay with not losing weight fast, say for example, you stay disciplined with your diet, but you only want to lose 2 pounds per month, you want to make it super easy to stick to, and you're okay with losing that weight at a much slower rate over a year, then yes, your cut will take longer, and that's okay. In all of these cases, you might have to take some maintenance phases throughout your cut to give yourself a break. Subscribe for more no BS, evidence-based content regarding men's health and fitness so you can look more attractive, feel stronger, and be healthier. Bada bing, bada boom. My name's Ali. I'm not a